You know her, you've double-tapped her picture, shared her skincare video, commented goals on her morning latte snap. She's everywhere. Perfect makeup, perfect life, perfect smile. But I knew her differently. Not as that liar Harper official with 12.4 million followers. I knew her through a username that barely had 200. A quiet account that shared no selfies, no filters, no hashtags. Only raw, late-night thoughts typed out in lowercase letters. Sometimes sad, sometimes sarcastic, always real. Back then, I had no idea I was falling in love with the most famous woman on the internet. And she had no idea. I hated her, Lia Harper. Age 26. Full-time influencer. Half a dozen brand deals in her inbox. A six-figure skincare contract on the way. And yet, she hadn't left her bed in 3 days. The world loved her. But she wasn't sure she even liked herself anymore. She didn't want to post another fake morning vibe shot. Didn't want to pretend her smile hadn't been wiped off by exhaustion and anxiety. Didn't want to live her life for strangers. So she created a new account. No profile photo. No name. Just the username. At Thizanotlia she posted her first thought at 2:43 a.m. Ever feel like you're performing a version of yourself you don't even recognize anymore? No emojis. No hashtags. No likes. But someone noticed. Jaden. 27. Bookstore owner. Real-life introvert. Digital minimalist. No TikTok. No Instagram. Only Twitter for the sarcasm. He stumbled across her post by accident. And he replied, without thinking. All the time. Especially when smiling feels like acting. She stared at his reply. A stranger who didn't ask who she was, what she looked like, or why she wasn't sleeping. She replied, "Nice to know I'm not the only one faking it." And so it began. He didn't know her face. She didn't know his name. But they talked about everything else. Meanwhile, the world couldn't get enough of Lia Harper. Comments flooded in. Your skin is glowing. Marry me, queen. And yet, she couldn't stop checking at Thizanotlia for Jaden's next message. One day, he asked, "So what do you do for a living?" And she lied. "Freelancer. Kind of. In branding." He replied, "God, I hate branding culture. Everyone's fake online. I miss when people could just be people." And she laughed out loud, because she was the epitome of branding culture. And yet, for once, someone was seeing her, not the brand. In the span of 2 weeks, she found more truth in 280 character replies than in 2 years of being the internet's golden girl. I didn't know much about him. Not his last name, not his job, not even his city, but I knew his thoughts, his insomnia, his fears, his dry humor at AM when the world felt like too much and I didn't want to be Lia Harper anymore. Just Lia. Or nobody. His username was forgettable, something like at JTalksBooks, but what he said stuck. He once wrote, "I think loneliness isn't about being alone. It's about being surrounded and still feeling invisible." I wanted to respond with a heart emoji or something sweet, but all I typed was, "Yeah, I know that one by heart." That night, I couldn't sleep. And not because of deadlines, brand partnerships, or the fact that I had to post a sponsored iced coffee reel in 6 hours. It was because some stranger on a throwaway account made me feel seen. The next morning, I went to shoot a hair product tutorial. The kind with fake laughter, slow-motion hair flips, and staged relatable bloopers. But all I could think about was him. I kept wondering, was he tall? Was he the kind of guy who wore sweaters with holes in the sleeves and never noticed? Did he write poems in the margins of old books? I knew nothing about him. And still I knew. I didn't want to stop talking to him. Later that week, he sent a voice message. Just 10 seconds. Okay, confession time, he said. I own a bookstore. Yeah, like a real one. Dusty shelves, crooked signs, and all. No algorithm involved. I listened to that voice, soft, deep, and hurried, and something in me melted. He had a bookstore. Of course he did. He said it like it was no big deal, but to me, it felt like the most romantic thing in the world. He asked, "What about you?" I stared at the voice message box for a long time. I recorded 10 versions, deleted them all, then finally sent, "Nothing as cool as a bookstore. I do digital branding, freelance mostly, a half-truth, or maybe a quarter." He replied instantly. "So you sell the illusion. I sell the dusty real." I smiled. That was the thing about him. He wasn't trying to charm. He wasn't performing. He just was. And the more I heard his voice, the more I forgot the millions watching mine. Soon we had a routine. He'd send me a photo of a page he liked from some obscure book. I'd reply with a random confession, like how I once cried during a toothpaste commercial, or how I hated oat milk but pretended to love it online. And we never asked each other for selfies. It was refreshing, sacred, ours, until one day, in a moment of carelessness, I posted something too close to the truth, a late-night tweet that said, "The more they love the girl on screen, the more invisible I feel." Jay replied, "Whoever she is, I hope she finds someone who can see through the screen." That shook me, because the truth was, I didn't want to be seen through anymore. I wanted to be seen. Really seen. 2 days later, he sent another voice note. This one was longer. "You ever feel like you're hiding behind a username because the real you isn't lovable? Like, maybe if they knew who you were when the filters were off, they'd run?" He didn't know it, but I cried listening to that, because yes, every single day, the next morning, I posted a selfie on my main account. Flawless lighting. Paris filter. Caption: "Sundays are for serotonin." 1,000,000 likes in 5 hours. But it didn't matter, because he hadn't messaged me that day, and for the first time, that silence felt unbearable. I kept refreshing. Nothing. Was he bored? Was he done? Or worse, had he found out? My hands trembled as I checked my anonymous account. Still there. Still safe. Or so I thought, until the day Jay saw my face, and everything changed. It happened on a Tuesday. The kind of ordinary day where nothing should have changed but everything did. I was attending a charity gala downtown. One of those events full of camera flashes, flowing champagne, and influencers pretending to be humble. I almost didn't go. My anxiety was loud that day, whispering reasons to stay home, fake smiles, shallow conversations, and the unshakable fear that someone might see through me. But my manager insisted, "Your face needs to be out there. You've been too quiet. People forget quickly." So I went. Dress zipped, lip gloss on, mask secured. Not a real mask, of course. Just the one I'd mastered since I was 19. Smile, tilt head, laugh like you mean it. Somewhere in the middle of posing with beauty brand reps and sipping sparkling water I didn't want, I felt it. That prickling sensation, like someone watching. But not in a fan kind of way. It felt deeper, sharper. I turned, and there he was, standing across the room. Jay, holding a stack of paperback books, speaking to someone in the corner. I froze. It couldn't be him. He didn't know who I was. He couldn't be here, but it was him. the bookstore boy. In a crowd of digital people, he looked like paper and poetry. Mismatched blazer, soft eyes, a little awkward in the way I already adored. I couldn't breathe. He looked up. Our eyes met. For a split second, nothing existed but his confused stare and my unraveling panic. He didn't recognize me. Not really. Just that flash of wait. Have we met? I turned away, fast, found a hallway, hid in the restroom, locked the door, hand shaking. What were the odds? Had he figured it out? I texted him. On our anonymous thread, busy day today. A minute passed. 2. Then he replied, yeah. Had to deliver books to some stupid event full of influencers. Felt like I walked into an alternate universe. My stomach dropped. He was talking about this event. My event. I responded with a joke. Tried to play it cool. But my fingers shook on the screen. That bad? He sent a voice note. I don't know. Just saw someone. She looked like this influencer I've always found super fake. Could been her. Probably wasn't. I bit my lip hard. I wanted to laugh or scream. Maybe both. Because the girl he was talking about was me. But he didn't know. Not really. Not yet. He continued. Anyway, didn't stay long. Felt out of place. People like that. They live in another world. Filters and followers. Not for me. It stuck, not because he was wrong, but because he was right. I had spent years building a life of curated beauty only to become a stranger in my own skin. The irony was cruel. The boy I was falling for thought my real self was fake, and the version he loved was the lie. That night, I posted nothing. No stories, no tweets, no selfies, just sat on my bedroom floor, staring at both accounts. My influencer life, buzzing with praise, and the anonymous one, quiet but sacred. Jay had no idea that the girl he dismissed at that gala was the same one who sent him voice notes about books and dreams and fears. And I had no idea how much longer I could keep this secret, because every day the line between her and me blurred a little more, and every message from Jay made me want to be real just once, just for him. I couldn't stop thinking about it. The look on his face, the way his eyes hesitated when he saw me, how close we'd been without realizing it. The universe had teased us, dangled the truth just out of reach, and somehow, we both missed it. I didn't message him the next day, or the one after that. I needed space, not from him but from myself. I spent 2 full days offline. No selfies, no stories, no fake brunches. I curled up on the couch, watching old Studio Ghibli movies with takeout and tear-stained pillows. My manager was blowing up my phone. Where's your content, LA? You're losing reach, as if attention was air. But I didn't care, because Jay had seen me. Not in pixels or previews but in real life. And it nearly tore me apart. And then he messaged me, just a single line. Hey, haven't heard from you in a few days. You okay? It was simple, gentle, but it cracked something open. I wanted to tell him everything. That the girl from the gala wasn't a fake version of me, but the version the world forced me to be. That I hated it just as much as he did. That behind the glow-ups and captions was a person trying not to disappear under the weight of expectations. But I didn't. I typed, yeah, just a rough week. Needed air, he replied with a voice note. Understandable. You don't have to pretend with me. Disappear whenever you need. I'll still be here, I cried, because no one had ever said that to me. not without wanting something in return, not followers, not beauty, not access, just me. So I sent one back. My voice cracked halfway through. Thanks. It means more than you know. There was a pause before his next message. Can I ask something? My stomach tensed. Sure, I think I want to meet you. And there it was, the bomb. The moment I'd feared and wished for in equal parts. I stared at the screen so long my phone went dark. And still, I didn't move, because I didn't know what to say. Meeting him would mean shedding the last layer of illusion. He'd know, he'd see. But if I said no, what then? Would we just stay digital ghosts to each other? Soulmates behind screens? I typed, erased, typed again. Finally, I sent, "Are you sure?" His reply was immediate. "I've never been more sure of anything." I set my phone down, hands trembling, heart racing. He wanted to meet the girl he thought he knew, but I wasn't her, and the clock had started ticking. Soon, he'd find out the truth, and I had no idea whether it would break us or finally set us free. I didn't sleep that night. I lay awake in bed, watching the city lights flicker outside my window, listening to the hum of everything I'd built humming like a lie in the background. Jay wanted to meet, and I had 7 unread brand deal emails, 3 invitations to influencer panels, and 1 secret identity that stood between me and the one person who didn't want anything from me except the truth. But how could I give him that? The next morning, I scrolled through my main account, skimming comments like, "Drop the skincare routine. Queen, you're not real. Your art, I would sell my soul for that. Glow up," and I hated it, not them, but the version of me they adored, because none of it was real. Not the glow, not the smile, not even the happiness in my eyes. I threw on a hoodie, tied my hair in a bun, and left my penthouse for the first time in days. No makeup, no assistant, no sunglasses, just me, raw, quiet, invisible. I walked down to a tiny CAF tucked behind a record store, the kind of place where no one asked for selfies or tagged your order, and I called him. He picked up on the second ring. "Hey," he said, his voice low and warm. "You okay?" "No," I replied, breath shaking. "But I want to be." Silence. Then he said, "I'm free Friday. Can we meet?" I nodded, even though he couldn't see it. "Yeah, Friday works. I'll pick the place," he said. "Somewhere quiet. No noise. Just us." Perfect. I hung up, staring at my reflection in the CAF window. Was I ready? Could I walk into that room and tell him that the girl he messaged every night was the same girl he thought was fake? The same one he called everything wrong with the internet? Could I tell him I was Lia Harper? Or worse, would I walk away before he ever got the chance to know? The next few days blurred. I filmed half-hearted content, ignored my manager's calls. I deleted drafts of "Hi, I'm not who you think I am" messages at least 20 times, and still, I couldn't bring myself to say it. I convinced myself maybe it wouldn't matter. Maybe he'd understand once we met. Maybe he'd see me and know. Beneath the name, beneath the fame, I was still me, still Lia, still the girl who stayed up with him until AM talking about grief and books, and why we both hated oat milk. Friday came faster than I expected. I wore no makeup. I didn't fix my hair. I chose a sweater I'd had since high school, the kind that made me feel like a person again, and I left my influencer phone at home. Just me. 1 heart. 2 shaking hands. When I reached the CAF, he was already there, sitting by the window, a book in his lap, stirring his coffee absent-mindedly. He looked up, our eyes met, and for the first time, I saw him see me, not the brand, not the illusion, me. He stood, smiling slightly, unsure. I walked up. Jay, he nodded. It's you. And then, quietly, wow, you're. I held my breath. More real than I imagined. Something in me broke and healed, all at once, but that moment pure, delicate, terrifying wouldn't last, because the truth had a timeline, and someone else had already started the countdown. He smiled at me. That soft, uncertain kind of smile you give someone you feel like you already know, but aren't sure how to hold yet. We ordered 2 drinks, mine, herbal tea, his, black coffee, and sat near the back of the CAF where the music was soft and the world felt like it was just ours. So, he said, after a long pause, this is kind of surreal. Yeah, I replied, tucking a piece of hair behind my ear. You're taller than I expected. He laughed. You're quieter. That made me smile. I wasn't quiet online. Online I was vibrant, bubbly, effervescent, a sunbeam with lashes. But here I was just human. We talked about books, about how he used to be a photographer before he opened the bookstore, about how I used to dance before I got famous, about fear and loneliness, and how weird it is to fall for someone through typed words and fragmented thoughts. At some point, he said, I've never done anything like this before. I nodded. Me neither. He didn't ask for my real name, and I didn't offer it, but we stayed there for hours, sipping lukewarm drinks, trading stories, building something delicate and sacred between us, and I thought maybe I could keep this. Maybe I didn't have to tell him everything yet. Maybe we could grow this slowly, like a plant in soft soil, one leaf at a time. But life doesn't work like that. Secrets don't stay quiet forever, especially when millions are watching. That night, I returned home lighter. For once, the silence in my apartment didn't feel hollow. It felt peaceful. He messaged me after I got back. You were different today, in a good way, and I replied, so were you. I went to sleep smiling, but I woke up to war. My phone wouldn't stop vibrating. Calls, texts, pings, DMs, all saying the same thing. You've been exposed. At first, I didn't understand, but then I saw it. A screen recording someone had found my anonymous account, matched the writing style, the timestamps, the background of a photo I'd accidentally posted weeks ago. They connected the dots, and just like that, my sacred space wasn't mine anymore. It was trending. Liled #no TSO, anonymous #fake confessions. Some accused me of playing people. Others praised me for being relatable. But none of them understood. None of them knew that account wasn't strategy. It was survival. The worst part wasn't the headlines. It was that Jay hadn't messaged me since the news broke. I waited an hour. Then 2. Then the whole day. Still nothing. I told myself he might not have seen it. But deep down, I knew he had. The silence was heavy, cold, and I wondered, had I lost him? Had the truth ruined us before we even had a chance? Because the one person I didn't want to lie to was the one who would hurt the most from learning I had. Hope you are still listening the story. If you stayed so far, please hit the subscribe button. Comment below your thoughts. Okay, let's start the rest of the story. The morning after the world found out, I couldn't get out of bed. I kept my phone face down, silenced every notification, and shut every curtain, like the sun itself had turned against me. I had spent years building a persona that sparkled. Now it was all dust. The account I made to breathe had become a target board for opinions, people dissecting my loneliness, calling my late-night thoughts fake. Some even accused me of manipulating Jay, using him for a narrative arc, as if our story was content. But it wasn't a story to me. It was all I had that felt real. Still, there was nothing from him. No message. No call. Not even a question. I thought about reaching out, typing, "I'm sorry you had to find out this way," or "I wanted to tell you, I was just afraid." Or even just say something. Please, but I didn't, because maybe silence was his answer. I got out of bed late that night, sat on the floor of my bathroom, turned the faucet on just for the noise, and cried into a towel so the walls wouldn't hear me fall apart. Then I opened my phone and saw a message from him, short, sharp, honest. I saw 2 words. That was it, but they burned. I stared at the screen, willing myself not to beg, not to explain, not to undo every hour we'd built in digital whispers. Then a second message came. "Why didn't you tell me?" That one undid me, because I had no good answer, only fear. I replied, "Because I thought if you knew, you'd stop seeing me." I never wanted to be her. I didn't even like her. A pause, then I added, "But with you, I was just me." He didn't respond. I waited, watching the typing bubble come and go. Then finally, "You lied." 3 words. Not angry. Just, "Hello." I typed back. I didn't lie about how I felt. Silence. My hands trembled as I wrote one last message. "If you never want to speak to me again, I'll understand." But everything we shared was real. Every laugh, every voice note, every book quote. I wasn't acting. That was me. The real me. Just without the noise. No reply. Not that night. Not the next. 2 days passed. The internet moved on. Another scandal took my place. But I didn't care about trends anymore, because I'd already lost the one person who had seen through the glass, and now he couldn't even look at me. A week passed, 7 full days without a single word from Jay, and for the first time in years, I logged out. No more filters. No more curated posts. No more hiding behind screen names or ring lights. I left the city, packed a single bag, and took the first train to my grandmother's cottage in the hills, a place untouched by Wi-Fi, where the only notifications were chirping birds and the clink of teacups and porcelain. I spent my mornings weeding the small garden, my afternoons walking through forests with nothing but my thoughts, my nights staring at the stars, remembering what silence felt like before it became something I feared. And slowly, something inside me settled. I didn't miss the spotlight. I missed the sound of his voice reading Neruda in that low tone, the way he pronounced infinite like it held weight. I missed the warmth in his silences, the gentleness he gave freely when he thought no one was watching. But I didn't miss being seen by millions if it meant being unseen by him. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills, I found a stack of old postcards in a drawer. Blank on the back, edges yellowed, stories untold. So I wrote. Every night, a different one. Never sent them. Just poured out what I couldn't say aloud. Things like, "I never knew who I was without the likes. But you made me curious," or "You were the only part of my life that didn't feel like performance. And I think I loved you before I knew your name." They became a ritual, postcards to no one, addressed to everywhere he might be. I stayed a month, didn't check my phone once. Until one morning, when I went into the local town for groceries, the old shopkeeper waved a package at me. Something came for you, she said, eyes kind curious. I opened it right there by the counter. Inside, I found a hardcover book, Letters to a Young Poet by Rainer Maria Rilke. Tucked inside was a single slip of paper, with a quote highlighted in faded ink. Perhaps all the dragons in our lives are princesses who are only waiting to see us act, just once, with beauty and courage. No name, no return address, but I knew it was from him, because we read that exact line together once, and I had said, I hope someone thinks of me like that someday. I clutched the book to my chest, heart racing, because maybe, just maybe, he still saw me, not the influencer, not the ghost behind the screen, but the girl who fell in love reading Naruto into MIC, hoping someone would understand her pauses, and maybe he still did. The moment I returned to the city, I noticed it, not in the loud things but in the quiet absences. I didn't reach for my phone first thing in the morning. I didn't wear makeup to go buy coffee. And I didn't scroll to feel less alone. I had changed, and I wasn't ready to share myself online again, because for the first time, I was still discovering who myself even was. But there was one thing I needed to do, one person I had to see. I went back to the bookstore CAF, the place where it began. The table in the back was empty. The walls still smelled like ink and roasted beans. He wasn't there, but I left something for him anyway. A small notebook I'd filled during my retreat. Every unwritten postcard, every late night thought, every piece of my heart I hadn't known what to do with. I wrote on the first page, for Jay. I stopped being everyone else's version of me. This is who I found underneath. I left my number on the last page. No handles, no at s, just me, and I walked away. 3 weeks passed. No call. No message. No book return. And then one day, when I was watering the neglected cactus on my windowsill, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. One new text. I read every page. I didn't fall for the girl with 1 million followers. I fell for the woman who knew how to disappear just to find her own voice again. I'm at the CAF. Come if you're still you. My heart almost stopped. I didn't rush. I changed into jeans. No makeup. Pulled my hair into a messy bun. No mask. No image, just me. When I got there he was waiting, same spot, same half smile, same copy of Letters to a Young Poet in his hands, now worn and dog-eared. I didn't say anything, just slid into the seat across from him, and for a long moment, we just sat there staring, not like strangers, not like lovers, like two people who had seen each other, truly seen each other without needing an audience to prove it. Finally, he reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small box. Inside, a vintage silver ring. Delicate, barely noticeable, not flashy, he said, for the realest promise I can make, not to love the version of you I want, but the version you choose to be. I smiled, tears stinging my eyes, because I didn't need a stage anymore, just a seat beside him, and in that tiny bookstore CAF, with no camera rolling and no followers watching, I said the only thing that ever truly mattered. Yes. Final words. We didn't post about our engagement. We didn't live stream the wedding. We didn't trend, and we didn't care, because real love, it's not always loud. Sometimes, it's just two souls choosing each other in quiet moments no one else will ever see, and those are the views that matter. Thanks for watching. Hoped you liked it. As well as, please let us know, where are you watching from? Before leaving, please hit the subscribe button, comment your thought and share with your nearest and dearest one. See you in the next one. Until to the next one, spread love.